People of Reddit, what was the most NSFW event you ever stumbled upon in high school? In middle school some kids walked in and started having sex in the stall next to me while I was pooping. Eventually they smelt my presence. This was junior high, but one kid who we suspected was gay gave another kid who we did not suspect was gay a blowjob in the bathroom stall. And for what? A hollow foil Clefairy Pokemon card. Walked into a bathroom after school and found a guy and a girl about to go to town. She had her shirt off and skirt up. He had his pants on. I caught them just before the moment of insertion. I said nothing. I would have left them to it. Except all other bathrooms on campus except this one were always locked shortly before last bell. So I silently walked to a urinal. Calmly did my business. Properly washed my hands. By the time I went to leave, the girl was hiding in a stall and the guy was waiting by the door. I shrugged at the guy. Guy shrugged back. I left and heard the door lock behind me. Not one of us said anything or made a sound during the entire exchange. Edit. For everyone calling it a power move, I appreciate it, but I just didn't wanna have to pee in the bushes. No one thought it would be a bad idea for the cross-country team to have thin white uniforms until we had a race in a thunderstorm. So many flashbacks of DEs swaying with each stride. I went to a boarding school my freshman year of high school, and a few weeks in, I volunteered to help walk our librarian's dog for her while her leg was healing after an injury. So I was walking this huge dog through the woods around campus when he suddenly sniffed the air and just ripped the leash out of my hands and took off into the underbrush. I started chasing after him when I heard screaming and yelling. I thought, oh god, this dog mauled someone and I'm going to get expelled. Broke through a clearing and there were 5 half-naked upperclassmen trying to put their clothes on and scatter while this dog is joyously barking and jumping up on and licking them. TLDR, accidentally interrupted an orgy in the woods with my librarian's dog. Edit. I guess since so many people are asking. Yes, it was a co-ed school and yes, both sexes were represented. We had a girl who would sit in the back of the bus and seemed to always have a different dude sit next to her. Turns out she was giving guys hand jobs for a small price. I ran cross country in high school. Sometimes during practice we would run through trails in the woods surrounding the high school. One day right after school ended we started running down the trails and stumbled upon 2 students of ING6. Judging by their reactions I don't think they were expecting a group of 15 guys to run by while they were getting it on. Some kid at a party got blackout wasted and shat himself. In the middle of the crowd he took his pants down and slipped in it. Proceeded to army crawl to try and make it out but just smeared it everywhere. He is still known as the party pooper. Freshman year of high school. Football team is out practicing. A senior varsity player came into the freshman locker room, cut all the locks off our lockers, and stole our clothes. Nice enough to take wallets and phones etc out of pockets and leave them in the lockers though. Idiot didn't realize the hallway cameras had him the whole time. Most of us chose not to shower until we got home and as a team proceeded to leave in groups in undershirts and boxers or no shirts and boxers after getting a call our rides were there. Small town. Small school. So ultimately he was just benched for a few games, suspended for a day or 2 and his parents had to buy a bunch of padlocks. Edit. Rip inbox. Thanks so much. We'll try to get to some comments. Not me specifically, but 2 kids in my Catholic high school ducked in the bathroom and someone caught them and videotaped it. They posted it online. Our school made the news and now they measure girls' skirts if they look too high, as well as banning phones. What happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room. With that said, I once walked in on a kid shoving a crucifix up his ass on a dare from his friends. In 8th grade we went on a class trip to Hershey Park. 2 girls gave a guy a blowjob on the bus ride home next to a sleeping chaperone. They eventually got caught and that's why there are now no co-ed buses in the district. This was also in 2002. I went to a small party at my friend's house. My girlfriend and I got there late. We went in and noticed nobody was in the living room. Weird, they said they'd be here. Start walking to the back and I could hear several voices in the bedroom. I just opened the door and there were 7 of my friends just having a casual orgy. In band before a football game, I walk into the percussion room to hang with the homies. Everyone is huddled around this dude in the corner of the room laughing. So of course I walk over to check it out. Turns out the dude was showing everyone how tiny his D is and everyone was so fascinated. Yeah, it was really small. Like from the tip of your pinky to the first knuckle down. I've never seen anything like it lol. Edit. I know it called a micro D. Lumfeo. My high school had to ban blankets after 2 freshmen were caught having 6 under 1 in the middle of the art hallway. Oh man, I've got a good one for this. So I'm in HS theater class and have been helping the teacher out with a lot of tasks like setting up the green room and stuff. Just little helpful stuff. Well, apparently one of us left the door unlocked and unattended for a little too long. In our green room were 2 big blue couches that were the most uncomfortable things I had ever sat on. Teacher comes running into the room from the hall and says suddenly, "Tequila, I think someone is in the green room. Go with me so I can have a witness." Thinking nothing of it, I go. We stand by the door and someone is most deaf in there, making some pretty unusual sounds. I realize what the sound is a half second before the teacher throws the door open to 2 kids from my class getting down on that couch. I only had like 2 seconds of view time before the teacher screams, "Good golly Miss Molly," and slams the door. I sat outside that door crying from laughing for about 20 minutes before they knocked on the door to be let out. Realizing we had the stage completely locked down. The look on their faces when the principal let them out and led them to his office will forever be in my mind. Can you imagine? Balls deep about to blow and from over your shoulder, "Good golly Miss Molly." I dream of it sometimes and still wake up laughing. Edit. Words are hard. Okay, 2 stories, one NSFW but still messed up. Janitor in elementary school died while mopping the floor and somehow this didn't get around the entire school and my entire class saw them taking his covered up body out the front door. Another is walking in on several people giving BJS in the band room. It became a daily thing and I should have known to also knock on the practice room doors before entering. We had to go outside for a physics experiment, but on the way from the classroom to the field, there was a bloody trail. Because a girl had just been stabbed in the bathroom and run to the nurse. She'd moved to the country less than a month prior. Gotten mixed up with some shady people. And a 14-year-old hid in the bathroom stall before jumping out and trying to stab her in the face. She put her arms up and only had superficial injuries. But she never came back. Poor girl had PTSD last time I checked. We had many PCs in our school. And every computer room had a projector. So once when the teacher was ill and no replacement came, we were in that room. Someone started the projector and quickly found out that every porn site he tried is blacklisted. But playing from USB apparently works fine. We later found out, not only are the connections whitelisted, but also fully monitored. Not long after the movie show with sound and everything started, the IT tech guy comes with a substitute teacher. That internet search history was apparently enough for them to suddenly have a substitute teacher for us. Edit. For anyone interested, we were around 16 or 18 males and 4 girls in class. I can't remember how many were there that day. Had a guy run through the school completely naked. High school by the way. Even ran up and slapped some teacher's ass. Haven't heard of him since, but they was like 5+ years ago. Not me. But a few freshmen encountered sophomores having 6 on a hill. My school had 4 cross country and I think football. And then someone marked that hill on Google Maps. Used condom left wrapped around the tap on the sink in the boys' toilets. A week later it was still there. A month later there was another one next to it. I walked into a bathroom after a fight. Broken mirror. Blood smeared on the wall and floor. Water everywhere. Probably unrelated to the fight. And a lot of bloody tissues in the sink. Oh. And there was a turd in the urinal. I hope that was unrelated to the fight. One guy flashing his D at the teacher and also one dude was caught in the bathroom giving a blowjob. I'm a teacher who teaches in a high school. First day on the job, had 2 kids beaten cheeks in the back of one of my shop cars. Should specify I'm an automotive teacher. Pretty NSFW if you ask me. High school bus hit a deer. Police were called. Deer was shot 3 times in front of the bus to put it down. Watched it from the parking lot while skipping school. People snorting crushed up pills in the bathroom right off of the sink. This was in the early 2000s. I'm very sure some guy will make a video about this post with a robotic voice. A freshman got jerked off by his girlfriend under the table in the cafeteria. During lunch, someone sitting near them noticed was happening, took a video, and posted it online. The administration quickly found out. The video was taken down, and all 3 involved were suspended. A guy and a girl got caught doing anal in the hallways in a neighboring school. 8th grader 6 said, "Teacher showed us a video of a woman giving birth. Very close shots. Very graphic. Very disturbing to most 8th graders. Weird kid in the class tucks his arms into his shirt and starts jerking off to the fully dilated V being shown on the 200-inch projector screen." When I was in middle school, someone jerked off and finished on his desk in the middle of class. The story is legend in our area and it's been retold so many times that it's hard to figure out what actually happened after he finished. So I'll give you each ending I've heard from different people. 1. He finished and it shot across his desk onto the girl's hair in front of him. 2. The teacher heard something happening, went over and saw it on the desk and put her finger in it. 3. He just cummed over himself and got kicked out of class. He got suspended and a few years later got caught peeing outside and put on the 6 offenders list. The guy is really funny and pretty chill now. He has a lot of stories about him and they're all amazing. What kinda schools do y'all go to, Mayo? Legend has it that a guy in my sophomore or junior year used to sit next to his GF and get hand jobs during English class. We had 2 people ducking under the band bus in the mud at a contest. This is NSFW in a different way than most of the stories here, but when I was in high school I liked to go to the balcony of our theater to take naps during my free periods. It was dark, quiet, and usually empty, which made it such an ideal spot for napping. One day I walk up the stairs and see a girl from the grade below me that I sort of knew cutting herself with scissors. She freaked out and ran away. I eventually caught up with her and we had an intense conversation. We became friends after that day and I encouraged her to start seeing a therapist, which helped her a lot. Unfortunately, we lost touch when her parents moved to a different state and sent her to some boarding school. I go to Catholic school and besides a teacher pedophilia scandal every year, I'm not kidding, the kid that played the Pornhub intro on the drums that is spreading around the internet happened at my school. The seniors in the photography class got caught banging in the dark room. In middle school the health teacher went to show a video on the projector and I guess he had porn on his video player. He offered everyone A's to keep quiet. He was fired then went to work for a Catholic school. This is probably more NSFL. One morning during recess the neighbor, whose property was only separated from the school field by a little wire fence, small town New Zealand, came out and started sharpening his axe. He then called the kids over and cut the heads of his 3 puppies off in front of us. This was in primary elementary school. Girl gave a blowjob to a guy and his friends filmed it. It was the talk of the school and she changed schools. 2 years later she came back and sucked a different guy's D by the same dumpster. No one filmed it this time. I heard my parents having sex during math class. I am homeschooled. The dudes from the class where I was from before I changed classes started doing group masturbating sessions in the locker room before or after pay. That it smelled like rotten oysters after. The next class was always ducked because of the smell. Walking in on people having intimate relations was not uncommon at house parties in high school. However, one time, this girl that I liked was at the same party I was at. She had been flirting with me quite a bit throughout the evening, but at one point she disappeared and was nowhere to be found. Trying to find a restroom, I stumbled into one of the bedrooms to find her getting gangbanged by 3 dudes, walked out and breathed a huge sigh of relief for dodging that bullet. A girl, freshman, went viral on Snapchat because the guy she was giving head to recorded her and said it was terrible during the recording. She's now dating and cheating on the guy we called Cherry Picker. In secondary school, a boy brought in a live chicken and snapped its neck. This was in the 90s. 2 people were caught having sex behind the curtain on the gym stage by the master of custodial arts, or janitor. If you want to be a D about it. He said hi to both and walked out. Dave was cool. A junior boy filmed 2 sophomore girls having sex and, of course, he made copies and passed them around. One copy landed in the dean's hands and she called both girls and their parents in, and Duckine watched it. There were definitely girls snorting coke in the bathrooms. Teachers choking out and punching kids. Yeah, no, the usual. Friend of mine got with our art teacher, who was an ex-stripper. Not really NSFW, but when I was in elementary school I was getting my little sister's homework because she went home sick, and I walked into her teacher's classroom. She was sitting there with my gym teacher all giggly. They ended up getting married, having a family, and the gym teacher is now the principal of the high school. He's a great guy. I told him about that day I walked into that class and he had a big laugh. I've been out of school since 2013, but him and I still keep in touch. Edit. The gym teacher was in the classroom with my sister's teacher, not my sister. The two teachers are now married. Please don't call the FBI. Oh god. I've been waiting to tell this story here on Reddit. This was last year. I was a freshman, but there were a few sophomores in my English class. We were doing argumentative essays this week and were in the computer lab researching our topics. A few students were down the hall in the library because there weren't enough computers in the computer lab, and so she went to give them the same instructions she had just given us. Not long after she left the room I smelled something odd. At first I thought she was just heating up her lunch a bit early, but then I remembered there's no microwave in the computer lab. So I turned to my friend beside me to ask her if she smelled it as well. As I turned to the left I saw one of the sophomore girls with her pants completely removed. I was very taken aback by this, but even more so when I saw that there was a computer mouse halfway in her V. I just sat there, completely frozen. My friend noticed this and went to see what I was looking at. She said something and everyone else turned around to see the sight. Some people jumped out of their seats, making jokes and stuff. At this point the teacher walks back in and asks why people are out of their seat, and then she sees why. She screams and the girl leans forward to grab her pants, but had not yet removed the mouse. The pressure applied broke the cheap mouse inside of her. The nurse was called over there. They had to call an ambulance and take her to the hospital. Edit. Thank you for the 2 silvers. Edit number 2. Thank you for the 3rd silver. Edit number 3. Oh, look at the cute little self-care award. It's adorable.